Yeah, right.
Good air
Now when
conditioner in
you
that
do that,
RV?
are you going on vacation the whole time, or are you bringing, like, a hotspot being able to work in the RV while the kids go out?
I'm probably gonna work some of the time, but I will be doing vacation for a lot of it.
That's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for
So
playing with
look
us.
forward to it.
So did you get your bend right tonight? I was curious. Do you feel like you got it?
Did I get my
You
band
said you
right?
were working on a bend
Oh,
on
a bend.
on your
Oh
string.
no,
Yeah.
no, I messed it up.
Okay. All right. Well, there's always next time,
That's right. I'll
and
work on it again.
that's next week.
I'm just gonna keep playing the same song every week until I get it right. So we'll
Okay.
see how that
All right.
goes.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have you no matter what you play.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Thanks, man.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you
Good to
guys.
see you.
Good.
All right. So, Aaron, the poll's been moving, but
Alright.
only with two results.
Where we
I
at?
mean, I think people are going to think there are two people responding, but it's not true. This thing has been moving all through that song, and it'll probably move some more. So, this is where we are. So, this is what people are saying. And I'm okay whenever's good, and I'm okay for now, but eager to get back. Okay, let me tell you, just you want to know for curiosity what the results were last time.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I
Do you
wrote these
have
down
them?
for fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so there's someone who just do the right thing. Let's see still. So number one, I'm okay whenever's good. Last time that poll wound up at 21%.
Okay. Not
I'm
too
okay.
far.
But that's like how many weeks ago was that? 2 months?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah,
At
probably
least. Yeah.
at least. So I'm okay, but eager to get back was 25%. Soon was 8%. Let's see. Be creative. I just want to see my peeps was 4%, and just do the right thing was 42%. So it seems to me this is just based on the people taking the poll, but that people are sort of getting used to where they are, and
Yeah.
I think that's going to be interesting when we start to when we start to have some courage to get back. I don't know. I think that's going to be really
Did
intriguing.
we have any desperate to be together last
No,
time?
there weren't then and there aren't
No.
now. So
No.
nobody said desperate.
Oh,
Wait,
there's
there's
someone.
one. Okay. So that's we didn't get that one last time. So somebody's desperate. I hope they registered to come back this week.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So now I'll reveal the true results. You want to know how many people have registered to come back so far this
Out of
Sunday?
it's 75, right, that you can get total?
Yep, we do 75 max this week.
Okay.
So how many people have registered? How many people have gotten tickets so far to come back?
Well, I think earlier I was trying to guess, it's like either 75, you're maxed, or it's like 2.
Yeah, so it's not either of those, but
Close
closer
enough.
to 2.
Closer to 2.
Yeah. So
What's
10.
10? And is
Yeah,
that, do we know, is that like 2 families? Or is
as
it
of showtime tonight, 10
okay.
people have gotten their tickets to be back on Sunday. And you said, "Okay, it's not the full thing." I get that, but I'm going to tell you, you're there with the singers and the preacher. I'm going to be there, and we'll
Yeah.
see. It's going to be
So,
interesting.
of the 10, do you know, is it, a couple of families or is it 10
Yeah,
individuals?
no, it's a couple
Couple of
families.
families.
Yeah, yeah. At least it was. Yeah, when I talked to our folks earlier, it was a couple of families.
Cool.
So we'll see.
Well, we'll see. We have to wait and hear what they say about it. Maybe that will encourage more people to come. Yeah, I do think some of it is the reconciliation in people's heads of like, yeah, I'm going back, but it's not necessarily how I thought it would be, and so like I'm not sure that I'm digging that. I'd rather wait until it's fully back to normal. I wonder if that's what's going through people's minds. So they're kind of or they're just waiting to see other people go first. You
Yeah.
go first and let us know how it is.
So I'm getting texts that we're off air
Oh, great,
for all of you in the studio over there. I'm getting texts that we're not on air right now. Anyway, okay,
great. Well,
we're
we'll
going to
just
keep
keep
going
talking.
because that's all we can do.
Is it recording, right?
No, no, I don't record these. All right, so let's bring in our friends. So first, we'll bring in Brett Flanders. I really don't know which of these. I'm trying to see if we're back on. Okay, so I'm really trying to see which one of these is Brett on his phone because that's the one we want, and I guess he can just promote whichever one he wants to. So Brett's going to give us a little tour before we do anything else of what you should expect. Well, that's not the right one for sure. So there's Brett's chair. So Brett, I've promoted you also on your phone. Our plan here was for him to give a tour of.
Tour.
of what we will see when we come back. But he's not on.
Uh-oh. Now we've lost everyone.
Well,
We're
we
just
haven't lost
talking to
everyone.
ourselves.
No, we definitely have not lost everyone. Let's see my text story.
Natalie just texted me and said, you're back on Facebook, but not on YouTube.
And
We're
Robin,
live for you guys
I'm
on
just
Facebook.
I'm getting all kinds of help here.
Hi, everybody.
We're watching on Vimeo. It's on. Okay, so thanks, Sharon.
Oh, thanks,
and
guys.
Robin Miner says it's on Columbia live stream, but not on Facebook. Yeah, we're having all kinds of tech problems tonight.
Fun, guys. It's COVID. We're Zoom dizzy.
All right, I don't know which Brett to promote here. I promoted them both, and he didn't show up. Let's see if we can get Brett Flanders.
Brett, you're up for a promotion. You better make yourself visible here, buddy. There we go.
Okay, let's see if we're going to
Still the Darth Vader chair.
Oh, both of him are on somewhere
here tonight,
or invited to be on. All right, well, let's get Chris and Butch in here. We'll keep Brett's chair in here because he's going to be back in it at some point. And so let's get Butch and Brett in. Oh, now we got it's Chris.
They're all pulling a joke on you.
We got everybody. This is going to be the blooper show.
This is the last time you
get
to pick the topic, Jim.
Well, I mean, this is my staff. This is what they offer.
All right,
us
here we go. Oh, there's
we got Brett.
Okay,
so look at this, guys. I got Chris's
flip
chair.
your camera, Brett.
I got Brett's chair.
Take you off mute. There you go.
All right, so Brett, we'll go ahead and let you. You got to unmute here. We'll let you give us the little guided tour here while everybody gets back in their chair.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah. So, all right. So, Brett, when people come, assuming for the 10 people who've bought a ticket so far, and there's Chris, he's back in his chair. So we got Chris. So for those 10 people, what should they expect when they get to church on Sunday?
Well, I mean, it's going to be a different thing. It's going to be a lot of new experiences if you haven't been here while we've been doing the live stream, because essentially we're just going to keep doing that live stream and you're going to be watching us do it. Even getting into the building's obviously going to be a little different. I mean, people are a little used to it now. I was talking to folks today and I said, 2 months ago, I think we would have done all these training videos and we would have done lots of things, but I think people are kind of used to what it's going to look like now. So hopefully the process will be fairly simple, but the in sanctuary product is going to be a lot different than what people are used to seeing.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so you enter from the BWA lot because we have no parking lot on the other side. So park on
BWA.
Park on Columbia Street, right?
Let's see if I can flip this around here. So if you're going to park across the street, the BWA, you're
beside Brett's big blue truck. Oh, who's in my spot over there, Brett?
I don't know. I saw somebody earlier, and
who is that?
I thought you got a different car, but
put it back over there. Let's see who that is.
I bet it's Cyril. Is it Cyril?
Is that Cyril Keating?
Cyril, you're busted.
You're busted, dude. You're totally.
You only live right around the corner. What are you driving over there?
I know he drove from your house to get to the church. He probably
went to bring tools.
He probably went to Taco Bell first or something like that.
No, he had to bring tools.
He had to bring tools.
There you go,
okay,
Butch. But stand up for your man there, Butch. Stand up for him.
That's too funny.
I think he left a post-it note that said, "Jim, call me."
Yeah, I'm sure he did. So. I'm sure he did.
So basically, as you come in here, it's going to be fairly similar to what you see lots of different places. Haven't got them all out here yet, but you'll see the lovely little, please wait here in case it stacks up. We don't want people being more than 6 feet apart like everybody else is doing. We're going to have a little tent and a table set up here where someone can check your registration. You don't have to print out a ticket or anything. You just show up and say, "Hey, I registered. This is my name, and these are all the people I registered with." They'll check you in, and when it's clear to go in, up at the top, they'll let you in. Somebody else will be up at the top of the stairs here. The doors will all be open like this so that you don't have to touch anything. Somebody will come and get you right about here. Say, "Okay, how many people do you have?" Because we want to make sure we have the right numbers in the right places. Of course, the ubiquitous, what we call the paper cut finder. So you can sanitize your hands.
You know, Brett, if they could fly in to where you just came right there, it would really help them. I'm just saying.
I'll try to work on that.
Yeah.
So in here, it's actually a lot different than it's been looking the past couple of weeks. They've been doing a lot of work in here to get it ready for doing both the live stream and live service. We had cameras set up on the top of the pews here. We had monitors, we had cables everywhere through here, but they've been getting it back to the point where people can be in here without it being a hazard. You can actually see up at the top, we've got the monitors now up there and the cameras are up there. We've even added a remote camera in the middle of the balcony there. You see that white camera there. That's for one of the shots. And then we've just added another remote camera here so that we can shoot all the cameras from one location. You see the scaffolding where Pat has been up there running lines back and forth.
Pat and Chris, because Chris skipped calendaring yesterday to do this.
Yeah.
Because Chris loves calendaring, and I was surprised he
I
didn't
was
make
really
it to the.
so sad.
I know you didn't make it to the calendaring meeting with the staff. Just want to say.
What's the calendar meeting?
Oh, we do few times a year. We do these, figure out what's going to be on the calendar for the future. What was interesting this time is we're looking at the calendar and go, what's going to happen this month?
No idea.
No idea.
Okay. So in any event, if you're coming in, someone's going to ask you how many people you have. And that's important because in order to keep everybody separated by at least 6 feet, if you have 4 people in your group, you're going to get an entire row to yourself. If you have
Okay.
3 or fewer, you're going to sit on one end of the pew and another group of 3 or fewer are going to sit on the other end. You see, we've got these all marked so that this row is open, and you may wonder, like, oh, I haven't seen that wood in a long time. That's because the pew cushions are hard to clean. So we've removed them all. Every other row is going to be blocked off. We put all the pew cushions.
Brad, this
from
is
one
why
onto the
people
other.
aren't. This is why people have not bought tickets, because their
Yep.
sofa is more comfortable.
And so you're going to sit on this pew, and you're going to, if you're 3 or fewer, you're going to sit on one end, and another group's going to sit. Oh, that was the most important thing. This is going to be something you're going to put on before you come in this building.
Required.
You're going to wear
You
the
have
entire
to mask.
time.
Yep.
So, and another interesting point. So we're going to fill this up on each end on each side as efficiently as we can.
I see where you stack the pillows there.
Yep.
Gotta go somewhere.
This is about it's not going to be this bright in here either, because when we film the live stream, it needs to be pretty dark to control a lot of the lighting. So it's going to be kind of dark in here. So if you're going to come in, they're going to get you seated. We need to get you in here before 9:30 for the 9:45 service, just so everything's ready to go. Then these lights are going to come down, and it's going to be fairly dark in here. Now it's, most books are kind of used to that. Probably the largest impact is that for right now, the sound is going to be focused on the live stream, and they have
Yeah.
to do 2 separate mixes because it sounds completely different. If we just played the live stream mix through the speakers, it would sound horrible in here. Conversely, if we just played the mix that we normally had for our services when we were all in here, if we played that through the live stream, it would sound terrible too. So it's one of the things why that scaffolding is there. Butch and all his gang have been redoing the entire AV booth and setting up another whole AV room down
And
the
this
hall.
is gonna be different. I'm gonna have to get used to looking at the camera at a different place here.
Right.
Yeah,
I've been looking at the same spot for
and the monitor
3
up there
months.
too.
Yeah, so that's where I look. Is
So
that it, Butch?
That's it. You just look straight ahead.
All
So
right.
you've got the camera on the balcony, and then you'll have the camera you're used to is directly above it.
All right. I got to learn here.
And so the big challenge too for folks in the sanctuary, it's going to sound really different. You
Yeah,
may not be able to hear all the
It really
instruments.
does. I'm in there every week, so I can tell you the sound is different, but it's still enjoyable to be led in worship. It's still enjoyable, and so if you're eager to get back, it's your chance.
Yep. And you'll see here too that this is where we're going to be able to sit the front row, and we've got almost 35 feet between that and the people on the stage because we want to keep folks as far away. Especially if you're playing drums, you get your own little isolation chamber back in here.
Luckily, that's always been right.
You can that's hermetically sealed. You can live
Yep.
in that house. It has special filtering and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I mean, the reason for this, obviously, it's not that we're worried about us. It is that if anybody in the leadership team gets sick, that's 2 or 3 weeks that we're out and cannot lead worship. So if we have to trace a contact in the congregation, we're going to have to be able to make sure we can still get back in there because we've got to lead the next week.
So if you want to come in and watch the service, and you're going to be in here, we're also going to ask that you really kind of avoid getting up and going to the bathroom, because anytime people move back and forth, that's when you have the closest contact. So we're trying to make sure we have as few times when people are passing back and forth next to each other.
Now, saying that, Brett, if they need to use the bathroom, they can. It's
Yep.
just limited capacity. It's one or two people in there at a time.
If you're in the back section, you'll be able to go out, and there'll be somebody out there or signage saying, hey, go out there. And there'll be also somebody out on the side saying, if you come out and you need to go use the restroom, but they'll be monitoring. So they say, hey, there's somebody in there. Can you wait here just for a second? We're also going to ask, and this is, I know for the coffee drinkers, it's going to be a little rougher. No food or drink, because one, that's when you're taking your mask off to take a drink. We really don't want to have that happen. So no food or drink in the sanctuary. And then
Wait, it was allowed before?
Well, even water.
Well,
allowed,
technically no, but that
allowed-
didn't stop people.
Allowed versus done is a couple different things. I mean, even water bottles. We don't want people bringing in water bottles just because they take their masks off to have to drink. So sitting here, interesting thing too, we just realized too, if we have these videos going during the service, you probably won't be able to see and hear the videos that are going during the service because they're not shown, and that's the sound isn't displayed anywhere, isn't projected or played anywhere in the sanctuary. So
well, they can turn around and look at that screen. They'll be able to see
turn
it
around,
there,
look at the screen,
but
they
not
may
hear
be
it.
able to
So,
hear it.
so Chris, they're going to miss my superpower this week.
It's gonna be
They can.
sad.
It's pretty impressive. So I think I think they might want to turn around and look at that screen.
Now, Mike, will you, or not Mike, Jim, will you be mic'd up differently so that people
No.
in the sanctuary can hear you?
No,
Okay.
You'll be able to hear me. I project. So I think so I can tell you'll be able to hear me because people who've been leading worship have been staying for the sermon, and they've been sitting all throughout the sanctuary, and I don't think they have any problem hearing me. But it's not going to be the same as my amplified voice.
Right.
Because if you amplified my voice in the room, it would echo in the live stream.
Right.
And we are building an apparatus, as Butch will tell you in a minute, to be both. But for now, we have to be keyed on the live stream, which is obviously where the vast majority of people are going to be.
Right.
So, all right, Brett, anything else you
Okay.
should tell us before you go
Well-
back to your empty chair in there?
The last thing's going to be is when we're finished, we're going to want everyone to stay seated so that we can release you one row at a time. And again,
Like at a wedding, right?
just like at a wedding, somebody will
Yep.
come in and say, okay, row one, you guys can leave. Okay, wait till they're about to the door. Row two, you can leave. And it's going to be head straight out. This is not a walk around the church. This is not a, hey, let's go look over here. Let's stand out here and talk to somebody. We really need you to head right out. The folks who are leading the worship team and Jim are not going to come down and have conversation. They're just going to head right backstage. And we got people coming in for the next service to set up for the next service. So we got a lot of things going on. So
I'll give you a minute to get back to your chair, your empty chair, which we were looking at until I figured out which one to demote. Yep, there you go, and we'll bring him back in a minute. So let me ask you guys first. I know the answer to this because I've been doing it with you. But so Chris and Butch, what's it been like to lead the virtual service versus what we're used to?
Bizarre.
Night and day.
Yeah.
Feels like, there's just no immediate feedback. You're like, did people connect with that song? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Are people into what we're doing? I have no idea.
Yeah.
The interesting. The fun thing has been people that have my cell phone number sometimes text.
Yeah, I get a lot too. Texts and
So, like,
emails.
in the middle of a song, I'll look at my watch or my phone because somebody's lighting it up, and usually, it's like that was an awesome song or appreciate what's going on. Sometimes it's like, oh, I like your hair. Somebody's trying to be funny.
So those people actually mean a lot to us
Oh
because
my gosh.
because we're so used to having a lot of feedback. And I had someone this week, we were having dinner with some folks, and they said, "Oh, you look like this is just, you don't want to go back. This is so much fun." And I said, "Do you have any, it's just, I don't think any of us think we are making it fun as much as we can. We love each other. And so, working is fun. But the truth is, it takes so much to manufacture the energy to create the same experience for people virtually. And I've done a lot of radio and television stuff, and it's not even the same as that. Trying to reproduce an energetic worship service, I told Debbie I'm preaching, half as much, and I come home and I just crash. I am exhausted from trying to produce that energy. It's not as much fun. At least it's not for me. Butch, more fun for you?
No, I would totally agree. I'd rather have the place packed.
Yeah.
We feed off the energy of each other.
Yeah.
Part of the worship of the people is we're telling the story to one another as we're singing our praises to God. You're singing to empty pews,
Right.
So
let me say too, you are in what will become our production room for the future. We are going to have a virtual campus from now on. We think that's going to be a reality. And so it's not anywhere near finished. In fact, tonight, our technical glitches are partly because we're switching from the sanctuary to that virtual production room. But, we're going to have to do this, but you're doing this in such a way that we will be able to produce worship that feels right in the room and feels right virtually, correct?
absolutely, yes. We'll have two completely dedicated teams of people and equipment to be dedicated to the live worship, and we'll also have people that their sole responsibility is to our virtual community.
Yeah. So Aaron, you're sitting in the virtual audience. In fact, right now you're in Georgia, so you really were
I'm
you were
really
way out there this week. So what do you wonder when I do wonder, what do people wonder and think when they're sitting out there?
So,
what would you ask us?
interestingly enough, I happen to be married to one of the producers. So
You do.
I admittedly don't, I probably wonder less just because I hear the recaps when I get home of, okay, this happened and this happened, or
You won't believe what Jim did. You won't believe what Butch
no,
did.
we have fun when anytime there's a glitch. Cyril knows I always send him a text. Laces out, Cyril. Laces out. And
Wait, what? Laces out.
Chris knows what I'm talking about.
That's awesome.
It's from Ace Ventura. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, I think I did, but I've
And
forgotten that.
remember
piece.
the what's he called? The place kicker.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
have the laces out, so he couldn't, he didn't make his kick. Anyway, so it's like a joke. It's a running joke now that if there's ever a glitch in the virtual, and there was one time where I was like, oh, I'm not even going to text that to him. He's going to be too mad. He's too stressed out right now. He doesn't need me. He's already getting the heat on the show. He doesn't need me texting him right now. So I would say the thing that, I do watch virtual church with a group of people. And so, yeah, those are the things that we're always very in tune. If anything ever is like slightly off, mostly because everyone knows I have a quick route to Cyril. So we joke around about it.
So I thought my flight to pulpit this week went really smoothly. And that's because when you really do fly in and I
Yeah.
was actually amazed that went as smoothly as it went. Slamming door there, Brett. So
That's Brian behind me working.
oh, okay. We're still fixing up the room. All right. So, we're in stage 2. A lot of people have said they really want this. I'll show you guys the results because you haven't. Maybe you've been watching in the other room, but I suspect that you've all been working. So I'm going to share the screen one more time, and it has continued to move as people have responded. So I asked this same question, I don't know, 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. Time is really moving by, but about how desperate people were to be back in church, and the results are pretty different this time. But still, by the way, I noticed Aaron, while Aaron was singing, somebody changed their answer from "I'm desperate to be together." They felt guilty or something. I don't know. That was Chris. But so 13% are saying just do the right thing. I'll be there. Be creative. I just want my peeps. 13% needs to happen soon. There are none. And I'm okay for now, but eager to get back. 50%, that's the large group. And then I'm okay whenever is good. And I do think that there is a settling in for good or for bad. And I think you guys will agree with me. It's both because getting back into a routine of corporate worship is going to probably take some energy and courage. But people are becoming more comfortable, at least with this. And, so we're getting different results. And in fact, Chris, what are our registrations now? Have they gone up any while we've been talking? 10.
10.
So 75 people could come to worship on Sunday, and at least 80 people have been hounding me daily that they want back into the building, and 10 people have registered. What do you make of that, Chris? I'm not surprised. It's actually what we predicted, to
And
be
people
honest.
wait till the last minute to register for anything.
You
so
think
I
that's it?
doubt this would be any different. I would
Okay.
think.
All right. Okay, I'll give you that. But once we get to 75, we're done. We got
Yeah.
a long way to go. But um, so I don't know. I think it's people start thinking about. So for some people, they feel risky to come back. You even had a few band members and such say, I don't know about people in the room. That's one of the tough things we deal with. And I think other people, they have kids and they think, wow, that just doesn't sound like a lot of fun to try to stagger in there, sit there and kind of watch and then go out. I think when people start weighing it, they wonder if whether we're fully back will be the moment that they want to come back in the room.
hmm
I don't know. It's interesting. What do you think, Aaron? You're in a better position to say.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would think. And honestly, it's probably how I would think about it. It's for me, I'm probably most comfortable coming back when it's back up and running and in the corporate worship I'm used to, for me selfishly. And I think probably a lot of people are still like they're either on that path, like you said, like I'm not ready to go back, period. Or I'd like other people to sort of test it out. Let me know. Is it that weird? Is it that different from what it's like when we're all back? Like
Mhm.
no one really know what to expect of a hybrid experience. And so, if you do have kids, I'm sure like that's a big commitment to now be like, all right, I gotta get all my kids and I gotta make sure they all have their mask on, they sit and they're not noisy and da da da. And so like, yeah, that might not be. So they're probably waiting for someone to be like, it's fine, just make sure you get a seat in the back. You're fine,
Yeah.
waiting to hear about it. But you're also August, to be fair. This is a month that people usually go away on vacation and stuff. So church wouldn't be overly stacked anyway, in August. So I don't know that it's that abnormal.
We'd have okay crowds. It's not like it used to
I
be.
mean,
People
it's
sort of
DC
staggered out.
August. Yeah. I mean, I never
Yeah.
expected anything to
People are
do much in
traveling.
August.
Yeah, true. All right. So Aaron, how many people do you think are saying, "Look, I want to go back, but you guys just need to." y- I got to ask you the honest question because you'll give me the honest answer. You guys need to just throw it open. Stop with this caution. If you did that, I'd be back. I'm curious.
I think it's probably a good amount of people.
Yeah.
You're probably 50-50. You've always said you're a purple church. I don't know that it's a political issue, but I think you probably have 50 people, 50% of people saying like, I'm fine,
Yeah.
get back. And 50% being like, nope, I don't want
Yeah.
it. And then, well, you probably have like, I'd say maybe you have 40-40. And then the other 20% is like, I just don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I'm cool going in and wearing masks all the time or if I'm not, or how do I feel about it? But I do think people, especially, at least a lot of family members, because we've all had to be thinking about school.
Mhm.
So people have probably rooted into their belief around what they feel about school. And so that probably is factoring into it, don't you think? Like
I
they've already had
guess.
to kind of consider what does it feel like for me to say my kids should go back and completely be fine, or I opted for virtual only, or I was fine with some sort of hybrid with them having to wear masks all day, right? Like they've already kind of gone through some of that thought process there. I
Yeah,
don't know.
maybe. I don't know. I've had some sympathy that some parents I've talked to have not had for the superintendents because Brett and Chris, we've been welcoming Chris into the elder meeting for the last, I don't know, 2 months or so. And I'm going to tell you, it's tough when you start thinking about this. And the murder stories are terrible out there. So like the story I shared in my email about my in-laws church that opened in
Yeah.
June. 5 of their 8 staff members tested positive. Their spouses are positive. They've got some hospitalizations now. They're waiting for the worst because we're a week and a half in or 2 weeks in now, and some senior members. And when you get into the room of elders, there are some elders that initially were saying, "We got to get back, got to get back, got to get back," and then they started really thinking about what this meant for staff, church, and for everybody. And
Right.
it's a really tough decision. So
Yeah.
I've had some sympathy for superintendents that I can tell you. A few parents I've talked to, it's a lose-lose proposition.
Yeah.
It really is. So Butch, what do you think? You guys just you can unmute unless there's somebody making a lot of noise in there.
Good.
So you know, when do you think we'll be back? Out of curiosity, when are you banking on?
2021.
So you're thinking through Christmas, we have to be nimble at being virtual.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you look at where we are with the school situation and just with businesses being open or partially open or closed or whatever it may be. I think until the culture that we're living in, those gates begin to open up and some normalcy of life begins to take place. I don't see it being any different within the body of the church.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So
And by the way, there are some things we don't think of that make it difficult. For example, Debbie, I asked Debbie, my wife, this past week, would you register for this ticket? And she said, "Would you?" And I'm like, "Absolutely. I would want to be in there and see." And she said she would not. And I said, "Because of the danger?" And she goes, "Well, I mean, just the experience." But she also said, "Look, I'm leading a virtual small group, and my virtual small group meets at 9:45. And so if I were to go to the 11:15 service, I couldn't
Right.
make that work. It takes my energy to get that group together, and we may be having some of that too." So, Chris, what about you? If you were just a regular old member and this thing came available, would you get the ticket and come?
I don't know. The first time I went to a football game, I was like, this is not anywhere near as fun as watching on my couch. It's a lot cheaper.
But that was before
I
COVID, right?
no, I'm just saying you get to the bathroom a lot easier. You don't have to worry about the crowds getting out. And I don't know. I think with kids, I don't think I'd be back right now. I think, and there's a like, don't get me wrong. There's, and I'm not home with Lacey every week. So I'm gonna say there's been sweet moments with them in worship, and there's definitely chaotic, insane moments too. But they're processing and experience worship and the body of Christ in a way they never have. And I don't know. I'm not ready to give that up. And I'm not ready to change that for them because they love it. I mean, they don't make it through the whole thing,
No, it's going to be interesting though, and I understand Judah's really into my
but
my
he
mad
loves little media
superpowers,
interaction.
and he will be the one kid if nobody else has one that's got a T-shirt, right?
Oh, he's got one coming.
So Brett, what would you do?
I in a if I weren't involved in the day-to-day operations, I would probably think about coming back. Um, we've had conversations at home. We have my mother-in-law lives with us, so that's a big factor in trying to protect her. So not wanting to bring things home is a big issue with that. We're lucky our kids are a little older, so they would be able to be in there. But I got a son with 3 heart valves, so we're a little taking that in consideration too. So it would be a much harder choice.
Yeah, yeah. It's an interesting moment. All right, so I've got the Q&A up now for those of you who are on our poll, so you can ask anything you want to of any of us. So I don't know, Aaron, ask us the hard questions here. So we're all staff. We're all living it. We're swimming in this every day. It's tough for us. I'll tell you the complexities that I don't think the average person thinks of. To stand up the virtual thing is more work than anybody can possibly recognize.
Yeah.
And I think we've tried to do it. I can't say we've done it well. We've tried to do it very well. We've tried to be excellent in every way. And the people you see on the screen have put a lot of work into this. And then you try to think about, how do I make 2 things happen at once and that's tough. And then it's the thing about we don't want to be. We live in a community where people can be skeptical of the church. I'm sure this surprises you, but some people can, and we don't want to be seen as the sort of the spreaders of the virus, the ones who are participating in the destruction of the culture in a way. That's an issue. And then we love our people, and we really want the best for them. We want to give the best experience we can at any given time. So I know you hear from you have a lot of friends, and you talk to a lot of people, and you hear a variance of opinion. And I always find that valuable on this show. So if you ask the hard questions from either side, what would you ask us? And by that I mean, what would you ask Chris?
Yeah. Chris, you and you alone. can answer this question. We all know Jim will say it's your idea anyway.
It is. No, it's not all Chris's idea. Some of it's Butch and Brett.
Yeah, I think probably, I mean, I don't know. The hardest question I think everyone has in their mind that they'd ask or not ask, depending on how comfortable they felt, would be why the church isn't leading. Um, I think and we've had that conversation before, right? We've talked about it, but like Butch, when you were talking about the culture, like I think that's one thing that I think everyone's grappling with across the board, right? It's like, who's going to go first? Like, who is going to go first? I mean, businesses seem to go first, right? There's plenty of people who are making the decision, like they've got to get open and they got to get money. And we all apparently thought grocery stores should be first. And so we've elevated some people to frontline workers that we might not have normally seen as frontline workers, as we've talked about. But we've almost kind of like let them hanging out as the frontline workers throughout this whole thing. And so there is this like underlying feeling of like, have we demoted people we used to think were frontline workers permanently? Have we permanently said teachers don't necessarily need to do this and churches don't need to lead and this, like, and so it's, I don't know. I think it's a conundrum. I don't think I don't think that's a damning thing to say, quote unquote, but like it's a
No,
question.
I
Who is
think it's
supposed to go
I think
first?
it's a really good question, because I've answered this a lot by email and text. So I'll let my colleagues answer it first. I have what I would say, but let me hear what my colleagues would say to that, because I have fielded this question a lot.
So for me, if we were not meeting every week live, we were not relational, we were not reaching out to our community virtually, that we had simply closed the doors and we're not communicating to the body of Christ, we're not
Right.
continuing to try to lead in worship and disciple through small groups and those kinds of things, then I would say we're not leading. But I think we are actually leading. It's just in a different way than what we've all grown up to know. We're still connecting. We're still exalting the Lord. We're just doing it virtually. And we're actually, in some respects, being even more intentional in the things that we do. Every action that we make always has a consequence, has a reaction. But I would say that our senses are actually heightened even more in this virtual world, recognizing that every touch that we make is just got that much more meaning to the people of Columbia, and actually throughout Columbia extended, people who have actually moved away are reconnecting. So I would say, had the doors been shut and there had been no communication, we would not be leading. But we are actually leading in the fact that we are continuing to reach out. But I think we're also leading by the actions of love. We've had conversations on Soul Cafe about the mask, loving our neighbor, living that life, being salt and light in the community that we're in. So by us being cautious in opening up the doors, I think that's actually a sign of love to our people, because there's a lot of people. I mean, we've had conversations in the past week. Who are the people that are going to greet at the doors? Who are those first impressions people? If we just said, hey team, hey ushers, hey greeters, hey welcome people, warm welcome people, come on out, I guarantee you that there's people that want to come out. We've actually been asked, can we come serve? I've got a responsibility that says, I don't want to actually open that door because I know that you may respond and you're actually in a demographic that is at great cost. So we're having those conversations behind the scenes, and we've got to take a full responsibility of that. we have to be careful who we extend the invitation to, knowing that because people's heart for the Lord is so strong and for Columbia is so strong, and just to be with people, they're going to say yes. And if something happens to them, then I've got to sleep with that at night. And so there's an emotional toll there. So we are leading, we're just leading differently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I
good.
mean, I think it's fair. And I think that certainly, I think everyone appreciates the efforts. I mean, I think everyone feels that the church responded very quickly, that you all were prepared. I think, I guess if I had to ask the second hard question that I've had, and again, I sort of am putting this in the same category of having to, I don't know why I always have to be the one that asks the hard questions, but I think
Well,
I'm
I mean,
speaking for quite
so
a lot
we,
of people,
in this
but
case, we're the
yeah.
ones who are on staff.
Yeah.
We're seeing whether we are or not as
Yeah.
insiders, and so
So the question would be, and you know, again, as a parent, I'm seeing this from the schools, but also even in the notes about opening up the church, there is a sense of like transference of risk, right? So large organizations are you all are just at a different position of risk, right? So if something goes wrong, to Jim's point, people are always looking for holes to poke at church. Similarly to you know, a massive school system, they're open to more risk, but it seems that there's still always kind of an encouragement with like, you know, meet in your homes for IG, if you will, or, you know, for schooling, meet in pods. And so it can start to feel to the individuals like, well, wait a minute, now we're all just taking on the risk of still gathering as people. And there's like this weird line between an individual family saying, never mind, I'm comfortable having 6 families over. And that entire group, you know, that entire small group could get COVID just by being in each other's houses. But obviously, we're not worried about being sued or like a big public relations fiasco as a result of it because we're just a family group. So it's like I acknowledge the challenges large organizations like churches and schools have. At the same time, it's hard to wrap your head around like the idea that you're being asked to take on the risk that they won't because the costs are quote unquote higher, if you will. But if someone got sick in my home, I'd still feel just as bad as an organization would feel. But I'm being encouraged to meet, you know, in my home with people and things like that. So how do you all deal with that question of as far as like saying still be the community, but just don't do it here?
Brett or Chris, you want to give that one a shot?
They're like, no, we don't like
They're
the
like,
hard
Jim,
questions.
you
No.
take this one.
What'd you say?
I ask it. And
They're
move
like, Jim, you take this one.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Well,
Some
so
of it,
so first of all, I do think we're leading. You know, what we provide is important to people. There's no doubt. It is not the same as food. It is not the same. You know, you have to get to the groceries. You have to have food. We believe you can stay connected to community. It's not ideal, but we believe we can keep you connected with what we're doing. We think we're leading because I think some churches have said we're an essential service, and I think that's true, but not in the same sense that a doctor who has to be proximate or a grocery store that has to be proximate is. We're essential, but if we can offer in a different way what we offer, and we can do it with high quality, and we can keep people safe, we feel a responsibility to do that. In regard to our sense of liability has never been I can tell Chris that we've been in the meetings. There's not been one conversation in the elders about liability. Not one person has said, what if somebody gets sick and we get sued? Not one. It's all been about what's best for the body, what is healthiest for us right now, what's best for the community, what's best for our witness. In fact, we've got a couple of attorneys in there, so the fact that nobody has had a liability conversation is kind of intriguing. I don't think we're worried about being sued. So we've opened the CDC because we recognize that's a different deal. They have to be cared for. We're churches get sued. We might. It could happen, but I don't think that that's our biggest concern.
Right. Well,
So
the PR equation.
when we
of that
say,
part.
well, that's a different issue, and not the PR in terms of like, you're in the press. It's more like we live in a community full of unbelieving people who are very skeptical of the church. And from there, I really do believe this: if we filled the parking lot Sunday and said we're wide open, to a lot of our neighbors, we would have destroyed our witness that we've been working on for years.
Right.
And somebody could argue with me, well, you should show them the witness of being bold and coming to worship. They don't get that. And only we do. That's an insider conversation. In fact, we've had one question has come up, and it's been, what would you do if someone got COVID? And have you had that discussion? And the answer is yes, we have. And so the reason you have to get a ticket is that we would be responsible for contact tracing. So if you came and someone got COVID, you'd have to be notified that was the case. We are separating the people who are leading worship from those who are attending, because listen, there's still a risk. We could have someone in the leadership team get COVID, but it's a smaller group. So it isolates the risk. So if somebody in the leadership team were to get it, it would mean that we were out of commission for 2 weeks. Chris and Brett Singh, sometimes Butch and I, we could all be out. And then we're thinking, what would happen then?
Right.
But yeah, I don't think we're talking about, in our case, I do think the school system's probably having this conversation. I don't blame them, but we have not. It's more, what's the best for the body right now?
And I think I would add that I don't think I would ever see this as what we're doing is pushing risk onto somebody else. I would not think that that's not what we're doing. What we're doing is saying, how do we minimize the risk to our people? We have a responsibility to figure out the ways to do this at the safest way we can, while still trying to do what our goal is to do. And some of that is to say, hey, if you feel comfortable getting together, it's safer for you to do it in small groups that meet together all the time than to come and have these random interactions with people in a facility here. So I wouldn't look at it as trying to transfer risk. It's trying to minimize risks for everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you have people in your home, you can ask them, are you guys isolated? So we actually had people to dinner last night, and those that came over, I said, I think you guys are pretty isolated, right? They're like, yeah, okay, cool. You can check that. We cannot at the church do that. We can't call everybody and say, hey, how isolated are you?
Right.
Church is an all-come deal. So when people come, you're not going to know who around you is being cautious and who is not. And as you know, people have a very different level of caution relative to this. And they have to determine what's the right level of caution. So some people are comfortable getting together with people who are all out there all the time. And some people are saying, yeah, we're comfortable getting together with our buddies who we know are similarly isolated. And even then there's a risk. All we can do is mitigate risk. We can't get rid of it completely. Chris, what would you say? Because to all of this, we've been leaving you over there in the dark.
I know it is dark in here. My apologies. Yeah. I always have something to say, but everybody's kind of hit what I said. I mean, I do think we're leading in, how we feel like it is best for the people that we lead. We can't control who comes in the door, but you can control who comes into the door of your home. These are all things. I don't know. I have nothing to add. I apologize.
I will say this. I hope the bold people who've been saying we really want to be back, I hope you will get tickets and come. But I hope you will participate. You won't be able to sing. Is that Sean? Hey, Sean. But you can clap, and we hope you will use all the other worship tools we taught you last year, right, Chris? Because having people in the room to encourage us, I do think we will walk out Sunday and we'll go, wow, that was fun. Just to have people there sitting out there engaged, I think will be fun. So I hope we'll have some bold people who will say, clearly they're creating a safe environment. I'm going to be relatively safe. It's not risk-free, but it's more risk-free than going to the grocery store is my guess. And we'll have 75 people come to these services who will say, I want to be there. I want to support this. I want to see what's happening behind the scenes. And I just want to see my people. I think it'll be fun. So I'll be kind of disappointed if we don't book up for these personally. Yeah.
Wow.
Anybody want to add a final thing? Aaron, did we cover everything we should cover?
Sure.
We
This was
got
your
all the
show
hard
tonight.
questions. I don't know.
I just got called to the task
we're
here,
just,
so no, I'm good.
I think regathering's the good issue for this week.
I'm just very upset. No one's texting me during the service telling me my hair looks good. So
I will
It's a
do
big
that
deal.
Sunday, Brett.
I
I'll make
appreciate you texting me just now.
I'll make sure
7,000.
nobody's doing it for me either. Chris is the only one that gets that. So I think we got to wonder what they're really saying to him there.
It's
I think-
encouraging.
They're saying you need a haircut.
Or- yeah, that I did get that one too.
when you're singing it, it's all down over your eyes, and
Natalie did say like it's sometime in May. She's like, listen, if I come back the next week and you have a man bun, I'm out.
and you had one this past week,
But not when the cameras were on.
and
It
she
was
didn't leave.
so
No,
humid.
but
It was
during
so
rehearsal you
humid
did.
in the oh my gosh, it was so hot.
I did as well.
Yeah.
Soaking wet.
Man, in his beard.
Well, you could do that, Brett. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, your beard's getting long.
All right. Well, look, it is a step forward. I hope we don't have to take another one back. I that's our biggest fear actually, is that we get to the fall, it gets tough. We hope we can keep moving forward, but
Yeah.
stage 2 is a step forward, and I hope people will celebrate it and they'll be here to support it and be a part of it. And man, I think we'll all say we're working hard and doing the best we can, and this is just really hard. And I will say this: I don't think anybody's more eager for people than the people in this screen, and that includes you, actually, Aaron, because I think you're such a people person. But
I
when
am. Why you
somebody
think I'm down
tells
in
me
Georgia?
you just don't know how desperate we are, I just want to say to them, you have no idea how much I know.
Yeah.
Because it's not near as much fun.
Yeah.
To lead the screen.
Well, best of luck to you guys this Sunday.
Luck.
Thanks.
Or I'm praying for you this. I don't know what you
Pray for intercede.
Go
You
get
have to
him, guys.
Be a mediator. Intercede for us this week.
I
Are
will
you still
intercede the risk on your behalf. No, I'm just
are you
kidding.
still going to be in Alpharetta?
No, I'll be driving home. I think we're gonna drive home Saturday and maybe split up the trip and come home Sunday. I don't know. We'll
All right,
figure it
well,
out. It's a long drive.
You can register for the next week.
Yeah. No, I'll be at the beach the following week.
Oh, it's a rough life, but somebody's got to live it.
That's
All right,
fine.
everyone.
Vacation. This isn't a vacation. I'm working. I'm just living in someone else's house.
Okay, whatever.
Really nice stuff.
Okay, friends, it's been great to see you on Soul Cafe, and we hope we will see you on one of the next 2 Sundays at your service. If you've been itching to get there, show us and register and get there. We promise we'll do our best to keep you safe. Have a great week, and we'll all see you soon. Bye-bye.
See you guys later.
Bye.